Welcome back, guys. This is Mr. Siege. Now, it's been a crazy last week or so in my restart kingdom, 3840. Now, I'm actually really enjoying it, but it's been very, very hard work so far. Now, I did migrate here from 3838 about 15 to 20 days ago, probably like two to 3 weeks ago, let's say. And since then, it's been very hard work. So in 3838, we had a problem with a group of people that obviously migrated in from an older kingdom, which is what everyone does at this sort of stage in the game, which I've realised now. Now, it's been a long time since I've been here. You know, I've been playing Rise of Kingdoms for about 4 years now. And that was actually the last time I was experiencing the early stages of Rise of Kingdoms was literally 4 years ago. So, yeah, things have changed quite a bit. And you know, there seems to be a lot more fighting than what I remember. Maybe there isn't. You know, I did experience some fighting it when I was first starting Rise of Kingdoms, I guess. So you may have seen from a very short live stream because of some technical issues that we actually had to have a bit of a civil war, and I'm going to explain everything that happened and the reasons why the war happened, and yeah, I'll just get down to everything like that. And we're looking at getting obviously more migrants in the kingdom. And I just want to explain to everybody that's, you know, near our kingdom within the next, you know, 10 kingdoms or so for either way, that we're kind of stable now. Okay. It's still fun. You know, we're having a good time, a few fights, having a few disagreements, but that's all part and parcel of having a new kingdom, you know, getting to know the people in your kingdom and stuff. But yeah, 3838, we had some issues with actually, it was a group of Turkish players actually. Now listen, I've got nothing against Turkish players. I've nothing against any other group from different countries because, you know, I spent time with many, many different people. You know, Baba, everyone knows Baba. He's a great guy too from Turkey, and you know, there's many other Turkish people. But yeah, the great thing about Rise of Kingdoms is there's so many people from all around the world that you can play with, talk to. You know, they've got the in-game translation, which is absolutely fantastic as well. But we came to this kingdom to get away from a group of Turkish players which migrated back and they were demanding territory and all that. And I get that, okay? Although they weren't very friendly at all, I must say that. So when we got to this kingdom, we suddenly had another influx of migrants, and you know, they did happen to be Turkish again. And we'll go and have a look at the individual players. Well, individual kills, you can see there. Avci is top. Now, he had a lot of kills from his last kingdom, and I believe he actually caused issues in his last kingdom from what I've seen. I mean, if any of you guys are watching and this guy was in your last kingdom, leave some comments in the comment section because I'm interested. So yeah, apparently he did cause problems. He just wants to start fights and stuff like that. And I obviously didn't know this, but he came in with a group of players and yeah, started to sort of cause issues. He's very touchy, you know, he's easy to how do I say it? He's got a very short fuse. So, you know, if you say something that he dislikes, he's probably going to try and zero you or start a war with you. As you can see here, he's now the second strongest player in the kingdom. Now, he has had some setbacks, mind you. So if we look at more info, he's actually had 1.8 million deaths, which is absolutely crazy because he's probably been playing less than 30 days, guys, and 1.8 million deaths. You know, he's been zeroed quite a few times, you know, and he's obviously quite a big cash player because 72 million resources gathered. Although I know he's got farms, 900 million resources assisted, yeah, which is crazy. Obviously, he's helping out the other Turkish guys as well. I think there's other people, obviously, they're not just all Turkish that he's sort of grouped up with. But he controlled an alliance called Hunters. And yeah, they had a bit of a short fuse and they would fight for everything. They're run by a guy called Gassel. And he just seems to run things and mislead people, it seemed. Now, we're going to look at all the alliances in my kingdom right now. And Gassel is actually called Fatir now, something like that. He has got a few other accounts called Gassel still. In fact, I know one of the alliances he still owns, and well, it's actually been destroyed now because I want him completely eradicated from the kingdom because he's just not a great guy to have around. Now, ideally, you do want a peaceful kingdom. As you can see there, alliance members Gassel, but he's now, changed his name on his main, and believe it or not, he's actually still around in this kingdom, which is quite amazing for the trouble he's caused. Now, to give them the benefit of the doubt, they weren't the ones that have caused all this trouble in the kingdom. Now, again, you may have noticed we had a civil war, and that mostly took place from our side around here. We had to drop a fort on their main alliance, which is actually now called T40I, which we actually took in the end. But yeah, we actually burnt their fort. We zeroed Avci again. I mean, I say we zeroed. The beast, as you've seen, the 30 million power whale in our kingdom now. Now, I'm going to show you a bit of footage. Yeah, he actually zeroed Avci. His shield dropped out, and Avci actually had 160 million gold that we were basically plundering. Now, I did join in, but I did ask the beast if I could join in because I don't want to tread on anyone's feet here. End of the day, it was him that zeroed him, and if he wanted all the gold, I'd leave him to it. And I'm not going to get in the way of a 30 mil power player. Not that I can really get zeroed. I'm a 2 mil power player, and I've barely got any troops anyway. So you're just going to put some troops in my hospital. It wouldn't have mattered too much. But we are really good allies with BD. BD is such a great alliance. And again, I'm going to show you on the alliance list now, rankings, alliance power. So the Bloods, BD, they're just such a great alliance, a great bunch of guys, an amazing leadership. Bread, the leader, is so friendly, and he's going through some really tough times at the moment, which it's really hard for him. But he's still managing to put up with a lot of the rubbish that comes in this kingdom that we've had anyway, and things are looking up in terms of the kingdom. But yeah, Bread's such a lovely guy, and he's doing a great job leading the Bloods. And they've got some really strong players as well, as you can see. Loads of people over 10 million power as well. Some really, really high power players. And it'd be great for him to be king because he's just so level-headed. So that's the way it's looking at the moment. Obviously, my alliance third in the kingdom at the moment. And Iviset is our second alliance. So these are where our sort of reserves end up in Iviset. We've also got reserves. Now, Kings of Japan, they're a very interesting alliance. So let's talk about how the war started. Now, it was Kings of Moon were the top alliance in this kingdom. And as you can see, they're not anymore. I believe Bloods was second. Hunters was second. And they owned this alliance that obviously we're in now. Now, they had all, obviously, the mostly Turkish players. Well, it's still a mix of players, but generally, they were Turkish alliance. Now, they actually merged with the top alliance. But the problem was, well, in fact, it was KJ that had the issue, is I believe that meant they owned sort of all these level 2 passes all around this side. And KJ were, I think, third or fourth alliance in the kingdom. And they were like, you can't possibly be taking all these level 2 passes for one alliance. It's just not fair. And I kind of agree with them. But obviously, at the top alliance, they were being a little bit greedy. And I don't think the Hunters helped with that because I know Gassel and some of the others, they are greedy people. Unfortunately, say they seem greedy people. I don't know them personally, and I'm not going to slate them, but they wanted all these passes. So, half the kingdom's passes is kind of, just going to say it's kind of greedy, okay? Now, KJ were kind of close to us. So we had a group chat, sort of a council chat or ally chat with us, KJ and BD. I think that's not a problem with saying. And there was a guy in KJ, one of the leadership, and I believe he's actually quit the game now, and probably not a bad thing, because, yeah, he made some pretty crazy decisions. Let's have a look. His name was Scaru, and he said, right, I've had it, they're being too greedy, we're just going to drop a fort on them. And we did say, look, if you drop a fort on the top alliance, then the kingdom's going to be at war. It's going to be a civil war. Because, we want to stand with our allies. We wanted to stand with KJ. But my opinion was hold off. Because at the end of the day, Hunters were very, very touchy. Very, very short fuse alliance. And they wanted fights. They're not here for peace. Believe me, they're not here for peace. And when they joined with the top alliance, I believe there were some problems in that alliance already. And I was like, you know what, just let them have the past twos. We'll just stay as we are for now. And I think the top alliance is going to fall apart at some point. But this guy Skaroo was adamant. He wanted to drop a fort. He wasn't happy. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really care about past two rewards. You know, I'm happy with two past twos, 3 past twos. I think we only got 3 or 4 in the end anyway. But yeah, KJ were not happy, and me and Bread, obviously Bread, the leader of Bloods, we said no, hold on, we don't want that we don't want that fort dropping. That's going to lead to civil war in the kingdom. We want to try and make peace, and you don't want wars at this stage in the kingdom because it does hold the kingdom back, and it has held us back a bit. So obviously the war happened. You know, KJ dropped the fort, and we were sort of ummed and ahs. We weren't ready for war. You know, I hadn't prepared my alliance. I didn't want to go to war, but I stood by KJ, and I asked for the fighting to stop. And if it didn't stop, we were going to get involved. And that's when we dropped a fort in here, right in the middle of their territory, to relieve some of the pain that KJ were taking. You know, they had a big fight on, and as their allies, I wanted to try and stand by them. And then BD obviously got involved as well. We helped each other, and we managed to burn their fort. We had to stop burning cities, which I'm not a big fan of, but hunters wouldn't give up, which is fair play. You know, they're good players, and it's nice to see they have some good fighting attitude. We want fighters in KVK, so we just wanted them to just not be as greedy. So yeah, you saw we zeroed Avci. Well, I didn't. The beast did. You know, not my problem. I took 26 million gold, by the way, as well. So we basically eradicated them, which was fine. I personally wanted most of them to leave the kingdom. There were people in there, certainly the ringleaders that you could see were just not great people for your kingdom. Okay, you want teamwork and you want loyalty, and these guys weren't loyal. And in the midst of things, I managed to actually steal an alliance from them. Now, they had about 4 or 5 alliances that they were sort of chopping and changing the leaderships and switching people about. And I managed to sort of be sneaky and steal this alliance off them. And now it's our farm alliance. So we've got a decent little shell here. And we're just trying to look after it right now. We're using it for some farms at the moment. Now, obviously, once their fort burnt out in their main alliance, Avci actually sort of gave that away to somebody, and then I agreed with Bread, obviously the leader of BD, that we could take this alliance and rebuild some of this obviously flagging and everything that was there in this zone. Now, some flags were destroyed. We still need to link up this area over here. We've got a few linking to do here, and obviously we're going to build this pass. Now, I am hoping, and I've spoken to another alliance. I'm hoping they can have this alliance. It's actually quite a decent alliance as well. It's got obviously good territory. It's actually got really good tech as well. So hopefully they can migrate in and come and support us as allies too. Because yeah, that'd be fantastic. We need more people in the kingdom. And if anyone else is interested in migrating, you know, we do have more shells and stuff. And we'll support you as much as possible. So yeah, hopefully that alliance comes. The whole alliance potentially will come and support us and Bloods, and you know, maybe KJ, but I've not told you the full story about KJ yet. So once we sort of, I'd say, eradicated hunters, we'd won the war, the civil war. KJ actually decided to take in all the ringleaders and the guys that had caused us quite a few problems over the last week and house them in KJ. And not only did they house them in their main alliance, so let's go and have a look at their main alliance right now. So yeah, not only housed them, but now Avci's actually an R4 in the second top alliance after all the issues this guy has created. And I can pick out certain players like Ken S. These guys were proper ringleaders in the war. Estrella, she was a ringleader in the hunters. These guys were fighting against us. They were killing our troops. Obviously, we were killing theirs too. We didn't want this war. We didn't create this war. KJ actually created the war, Mr. End as well. And they've actually teamed up with the guys we were fighting against, which is absolute madness. And this isn't even the best of it. PTND as well. There's a select amount of players in this alliance that they just took. And the reason for that is because they want to be top alliance. Now, this is the guy, Fatty, and it's not Fatty, Fatir. He was a ringleader of hunters, 1.6 mil power. Now, they've told me this isn't him anymore, okay? Avci says he's taken over this account. Now, if Avci has taken over this account, why is he in the top alliance at 1.6 mil power? This guy, he's still running the account. He still has a lot to say. You know, stop lying, guys. Why are you taking these people in? You started a war against them to destroy them. And now you're taking in their top players to try and become top 1 alliance. Now, if that isn't sly, then I don't know what is. Now, the other problem in here is, let's go to the rankings again. And we have KJ Support Union. So this is obviously the KJ, Kings of Japan's second alliance. And to be honest with you, I didn't want any of the old hunters in R5 or R4 in the kingdom, let alone in one of the top alliances. I was happy for them to be in R1 and, you know, help us in KVK if that's what they wanted to do. But, you know, it's very worrying still. Because when we go and look at this, now pretty much every single member we see here was in the old hunters, okay? Helok, Thor, Slaw, Baby Thur, or whatever the name is. They were all ringleaders in hunters. And this alliance is basically the new hunters: Ozturk, Kora Bay, Avci Yusuf, Lord Hart. These landers. He hit me the other day. I was in Z2 building a fort. This guy comes and attacks me. Okay, he just TPs in and attacks my AFK troops. This is after the war was over, and this is how sore, and it's pretty amazing. He comes and attacks me. I was 2.5 mil power. He's 4 mil power. In fact, let's just go and have a look at the reports. Let's have a look at battle reports. So these are 3. This one was actually a farm troop, because I was farming the nodes to drop a fort in our zone 2. And I actually traded positive with this guy. That's how weak he was. 107k troops. He actually had T4, not even unlocked T4, guys. And he's running 83,000 T4 cav. He jumped me. He TP'd next to my troops. And pretty much he traded negative, which is absolutely wild. 86% there. I just chucked some troops out because I was just trying to stop nodes respawning for a fort spot. But yeah, he came and attacked me, even though the kingdom was supposed to be at peace, just to get revenge. And he did message me saying, now we're even. Which is mad because, you know, we were never even anyway. Like, them guys were just being greedy. So the fact that KJ have now created a second alliance, which is basically the old hunters, is very worrying. And I just don't think I can trust KJ now. And another thing is, KJ were actually trying to recruit from the top alliance. Skaroo was messaging people saying, come on guys, come over to Kings of Japan. We're going to be top 1 alliance. And so they're pushing it. They're really pushing it. Now, they're still a long way off at the moment. And I'm actually expecting even more wars to come, maybe at one stage. We have an insight that maybe Kings of Japan would actually fight for the Lost Temple. Now, they'd be fighting against us too, because we are always going to support the Bloods, even though someone said we wouldn't support the Bloods. I think someone's saying that we don't like them, which is absolutely madness. Bloods are great. They are such a great alliance, and us, Pharaohs of Iset, we will support them to the end. Kings of Japan, I do not know what's going on with you. I guess you're just doing what you can to become top alliance, but you're doing it the wrong way. And I know some of your leadership left and came to us, and you know that might be the way it carries on, because you can't just go and start a war and then take all the enemy best players. You know, they should have been migrating really, and we're looking at getting more migrants in anyway. You didn't need to do that, but yeah, we were actually looking at like I said, hoping to get a really strong alliance to come with us and from another kingdom. That would be amazing. and I know some of the guys in there. I'm not going to mention any names at the moment. I'm not going to drop them in it, but you've got a great support group. You know, us and Bloods are going to support you. We'll definitely give you the space in our zone. We'll even let we'll let you take some of our zone too. Happy to share. You know, we want peace and we want to win KVK. Now, obviously, I don't know who else is going to be in our KVK. What is it? We're 40, so it'll be 39, 38, and 37 as well, I believe, something like that. In fact, I can see in the kingdom overview. Well, I'm just guessing. I was exactly right, though. Yeah, 40, 39, 38, and 37. Obviously, we did come from 38. Someone did tell me that we're actually the strongest kingdom in the realm, which I don't know about, to be honest with you. It's interesting if we are, especially after having kind of like a civil war, but we have got some good whales. But yeah, so we may get a bit of a tussle for Lost Temple. I mean, it'll be a little bit of a tussle, because if Japan do that, Kings of Japan, they are going to lose without a doubt. But yeah, it'll be a bit of fun. Be a bit of fun again. It's nice to have a bit of fighting, I guess. You know, you don't want to get completely bored, but ideally, again, you do really want peace in your kingdom. The fighting should come in KVK, and I'm a bit of a preacher for that. I try and keep the peace if possible. This is where KJ sort of let us down. Maybe some of the members don't even know that they created the war and what they've done. I don't know. But again, I do want peace in this kingdom, and I want to win KVKs and, you know, create more content of everyone in this kingdom, as well as on my main as well, guys. So yeah, obviously, new siege commanders probably on the way soon within the next couple of months, because we've had Archer. So we should be getting leadership and siege dropping pretty soon, or at least some indication that they are, which will be absolutely fantastic, because it always just seems ages since the last lot. I've got about 1,700 gold heads saved up, so should be good. Should be good. So guys, yeah, this is 3840. Again, if you're around this kingdom, drop some comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you think. I think we're in a good position now, and we're going to work on migration. If you're a whale, come and help out. You know, we'd love to have you here. Now, we don't want people that are off the rocker, that are going to get mad and mess about this in this kingdom. You know, we are organised. Obviously, my alliance has got me, which I'm trying to do diplomacy, and I think I'm doing a pretty decent job of it. Now, I don't take any, how do I phrase this? I don't take any crap, you know. I'm not a pushover, even though I try and negotiate fairly. I try and be fair, and, you know, let's just see what happens. So guys, I think this is the end of the video. I'm sort of losing what I'm trying to say here. But yeah, 3840, leave us a comment in the comment section. This was Mr. Siege, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.